And our next guest, man, she's sharp as a whip. She's the former Assistant Secretary of the Treasury under the Trump administration, and again, host of the Monica Crowley podcast. Monica Crowley, you are sharp as a whip, and you are very politically astute. But I've noticed in recent months a decidedly not harsher tone, but a more pointed tone, because things have gotten really, really serious. Let me just bring you in. Good morning, Monica Crowley, and say hello to John Katzimatidis.
Hi, Monica.
Good morning. Hi, John. Good morning, Bernie, and thank you for those very nice words. And yes, you are correct. If you follow my social media, Instagram, Twitter, Truth Social, I have brought a harder edge to the party, Bernie and John, and it's because we have no more time to mince words or try to pretend things are good. We're in an existential fight for the country, and it's time now to drop all pretense and really take the fight to the enemy.
Monica, yesterday was the 4th of July, Day of Independence, and I was on yesterday, and I was asking the question, are we in World War III right now, and we don't even know it, a different kind of war? Our borders are under attack, our legal system is under attack, our education system is under attack. We are under attack in so many directions. Is there a violin playing behind? The Greeks would say it's a violin playing behind our back. The Chinese say it's the art of war, Sun Tzu, that we're defeating the enemy without them knowing that we're even fighting them.
You know, it's a great description, John, and when people have talked about World War III in the last couple of months, it's been in the context of what's going on in Eastern Europe with Russia and Ukraine, dragging the world into what looks like a world war. But your description, I think, is more accurate, which is that we are facing both external forces and internal battles being waged against us by our own government. You know, what's really frightening to me, and I get a question a lot about what scares me, you know, what keeps me up at night, what I think is the worst thing that's going on right now. And my answer is that the fact that the left, not just under Biden, but for many years, has weaponized our own government against us is literally the worst thing that could happen to this country. And the result is all of the catastrophic policies, John, that you just laid out. So we've got a weakening economy. We've got skyrocketing inflation, sky-high gas prices, a supply chain crisis, a labor crunch. We've got a military that is woke and falling apart. We've got the bad guys advancing all around the world. We've got a wide-open border with all of the problems that involves. The list is endless.
It is World War III. It is World War III.
Really is, and it's being waged against us, John.
And Monica, where we were on Saturday night, I believe you were there, you know, a lot of our Democratic friends are walking around with a face that says, oh, everything's great. They're tiptoeing through the tulips.
Well, you know, I don't know who you're talking to, John, but I know a lot of Democrats are more quiet than saying that things are so great, because they know, if they're honest with themselves, they know that things are not great. They're disastrous, but they also don't want to pick on their own side. The problem here for the Democrats is we're still in a relatively democratic system, and they are going to have to pay the price for these catastrophes come November and then going into 24. So what they're trying to figure out is how to mitigate the damage politically to them. But keep one thing in mind, guys, and this is a really important point. The Democrat Party of today is not the Democratic Party of your father or your grandfather. This is not the party
not
of
even Bill Clinton's
or JFK. Right,
not even Bill Clinton's Democratic Party.
Exactly, John. This is a party of Marxist revolutionaries, and the loudest will.
Oh, she's breaking up, Monica Crowley.
Can you hear me?
You broke up there for a moment, Monica. But
repeat your last sentence.
Yeah, please.
So I was just saying that the Democratic Party of today is a party of Marxist revolutionaries. And the loudest voices are those like AOC, but the entire party is driven by them. And so what you've got now is this ideology that trumps everything, including delivering for the American people, because they want to change our entire system. So if they have to lose some elections, like they're going to lose in November, assuming all these races are clean, but if they have to lose a couple of elections here and there, that is the price that they are willing to pay for the longer-term project of remaking America.
Wow, that's amazing, because it is shocking, some of the things they do. And the enemy, as you point out, Monica Crowley, on the Bernie and Sid show, Mr. Katsimatidis, the enemy is within. I mean, you have this massive indoctrination by these woke people,
but somebody
in
Bernie,
schools, in the military, as you point out.
Somebody is paying those people.
Well, true.
There's
but
a lot of money. Follow the money.
Well, follow the money, but follow the politicians. Look at what Joe Biden has done to instigate inflation, to increase inflation, the price of gas at the pumps. Look what he did. He's crushed the energy sector. He's committed economic suicide in this country intentionally, him and the people who handle him. I mean, that's by design, no, Monica?
Yeah, so the two phrases you just used, Bernie, are absolutely on point, by design and intentional. When I hear people talk about this administration's incompetence, I want to scream, because this is not incompetence, although Joe Biden is mentally incompetent, but the people around him are not, and they also are not stupid. They know exactly what they are doing. This is about the deliberate destruction of the free market in this country so that they can replace it with this neo-communist model. This has been going on for a long time. It did not originate under Joe Biden, right? We saw it in the Obama years, and we've seen it for a long time. But this is all about provoking a collapse. This is about overwhelming all of America's systems, economic. This is what the border is all about. Flood the system in order to collapse it so that they can then run to the rescue with their great reset set of policies, which is economic Marxism and cultural Marxism. It is about destroying the country in order to remake it in their own image. That
is so well said, and so frightening at the same time. You had them last week. You had this one guy, this economic advisor to the imbecile Biden. He said what some people are saying, the quiet part out loud, which is we need to suffer high gas prices and inflation in order to instill this new liberal world order. He used those words. This guy Brian Deese, a new liberal world order. This is the great reset that you're talking about, I believe.
Yes, that's exactly right. And look, John will appreciate this point because he's in the energy business. The reason that the left keeps focusing on the energy sector is not necessarily because of climate or the environment, although they give lip service to that, and I guess they care about it on some level because they want their Green New Deal. But take that one step further. Why do they want the Green New Deal? They don't give a flying whit about the environment. They want the Green New Deal because the energy sector is the biggest sector of them all. It is the biggest lever available to them to re-engineer the entire U.S. economy. That's why they're focused on it. And from an international level, if they destroy American capitalism, replace it with this neo-communist model, then they've got the rest of the West, and then they've got the rest of the world. This is why the Chinese are all for it. This is why they're all pushing this model, because they want this global system under this great reset. And the energy sector in the United States is the key to all of it. And, John, that's why you're seeing all this unfold.
Yeah, no, listen, if you're listening to Monica Crowley right now and you're saying, wow, these people are conspiracy nuts, you're sleeping, because this is happening under your nose. And this November, we have to turn out and vote, send an unequivocal message. We're taking this country back. But you say, Monica, that might not even be enough as well, right?
Well, November is the first step, but, and look, I say, assuming all these races are clean, if you can volunteer for your local election board, monitor these elections, all of that would be very helpful. But I think overall we've got to stop looking to our politicians. We need people who think like us in power, for sure. from the president all the way down to your school board. Run for your school board if you can. Get involved locally. But we have to start looking to ourselves in order to bring pressure to bear on the entire system, not just politics, but the culture and every other direction.
Monica, talk about pressure. Maybe we should put out, I was thinking about it, and we talked about it a couple weeks ago, $1,000 reward on anybody caught with turns in anybody that on fraudulent voting. And maybe a $50,000 or $100,000 reward on any fraudulent voting in masses.
You know, it's a great idea, John, because we are still a free enterprise system, even though the left is trying to crush it. Well, so money is the ultimate
look what's his name did in the guy from Facebook in 2021, Zuckerberg.
Yeah,
I mean he put out $400 million in 5 states. Let me say that again. $400 million in 5 states.
Yes, money is still a great motivator. So all of those people carrying out the fraud got paid. So your idea, John, is actually a very good one to counter all of this, which is we should incentivize honesty on our side.
Incentivize honesty. Turn in. We'll pay the reward. Turn in anybody trying to create a fraud.
Absolutely. I love that idea. But our side really needs to get involved to do that. So get involved locally, volunteer for your school board, run for your school board, election monitors and observers. We need lawyers on our side watching all this stuff unfold. Look, what happens in November, John and Bernie, it needs to be an extinction level event for the Democrats. Not just a red wave, not just a red tsunami. I'm talking an extinction level event, an ELE.
If we don't balance out the President Biden from all the dumb things that are being done to our country, we're making the American people poorer and the rest of the world richer.
Yes, that's exactly right, and that's their objective. So we need to stop it dead in our tracks. And if we can get control of Congress, again, it's a first step, because what we need them to do after they get control in both houses, hopefully, is just to stop the entire Biden legislative agenda, stop all of the spending. We won't be able to stop the executive side, his executive orders, which are insane, which the Supreme Court now is stopping. Thank goodness, all of these executive agencies like the EPA and the CDC, stop them. They are grossly overreaching, but we need to stop them, and we need to do investigations into all of their criminal activity.
The other thing the SEC is doing, and Billy Siegel, your friend, should know about it, is any companies, the SEC is telling the major banks that any companies that are in the fossil fuel business, there is no such thing as fossil fuel, the oil business, that you have to curtail lending to them. In other words, the SEC is forcing the banks to go woke.
Yes. So this is ESG, and John, you know this very well, being in the oil business and the energy sector. This is ESG, which is ruining American capitalism. It's a few companies on top, like BlackRock and a few others, that are very powerful. They have so much money under management that they have the power to dictate all the way down the capitalist food chain, right? All the way down to the consumer. But this is a CCP, Chinese Communist Party style social credit system. And it is all around us, and the American people are still slumbering through all of this.
Right.
But they are the ones ultimately who are paying the price, whether it's at the gas pump or with everything they buy, because energy is built into every item that you consume. So you better wake up and understand what's really going on here.
Exactly right. So well said. And the Chinese buying up a lot of farmland in the Midwest. What the hell is going on there? Monica Crowley, former Assistant Secretary of the Treasury, host of the Monica Crowley podcast. She's brilliant, and folks, you should listen to her. Her insights are right on the money. We're in trouble. Get out there and vote in November. Monica, thank you so much for appearing on the Bernie and Sid Show with Mr. Katzimatidis. Thank you, Monica.
Always a pleasure, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. On the Bernie and Sid Show, we're going to come right back.